they actually track at what point of time you logged in which day you logged in. I was also looking into one case study where Microsoft was building a data center underwater, right? And because the cooling mechanism over there was more eco-friendly.
If a person is a fresher or if he is working to some other industry, how he can enter into data analytics? So you mean a person from a non-tech background can also learn Python and get into data analytics? Hello guys, welcome to the podcast series with CA Saksham Agarwal. So guys, today we are going to discuss the most demanded topic for this podcast, that is data analytics. So guys, we already know that data analytics industry is booming and numerous job opportunities are being created in this domain. At the same time, companies are offering very high packages in this domain. But the real question is how we can get into data analytics industry. At the same time, if we are working into some other industry, how we can get into data analytics, or that is how we can switch our career. Or we have just graduated from our college and there are several career options. Why we should choose data analytics? And the most important question, what exactly is data analytics? Because there are several myths associated with this industry. What exactly is data analytics that we want to understand? So guys, to address these questions, we have with us Mr. Rakshit Vig. He is quite an expert in this domain. He holds numerous certification as well as degree, and he is quite passionate about this field. So we have requested and we have with us Mr. Rakshit. He will throw some light on this topic and help us understand what exactly is data analytics and how we can enter in this high paying domain. So here comes Rakshit Vig. So Rakshit, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
Thank you so much, Saksham, for having this introduction, and I am as excited as you are for this podcast because in analytics there is a lot of fuzz and a lot of boom and a lot of misconception that is going around, and in this podcast we will try to answer all those questions and make it as valuable as it can. So I'll try to add as much insight as I can for your students and your customers.
So Rakshit, I'll tell you the flow of this podcast. So we have been receiving numerous questions from our candidates and we have shortlisted 4 major questions among them. And from these 4 major questions, there are several sub questions which I'll ask in between. So let's start with the first question, that is why data analytics industry is booming and why there is so much hype around it. We understand that numerous jobs are being created, companies are offering very high package, but why suddenly this industry became so popular? Because earlier when I speak 3-4 years back, I didn't know about this industry. I had a little bit idea, but I never thought that this industry will be so big in the future. So why this industry is booming and why so much hype around it?
So one thing that we have to understand is analytics is not something new. Analytics has been into existence from a lot of time. So if we go back to the late 90s, at that point of time, if we have to predict the stock price, so we used to look at the past data of that stock. We used to analyze the pattern, and based upon that, we have to see the support and the resistance, and then we take some decisions based upon some algorithm, based upon our knowledge that okay, this stock might go up or might go down. Right? So that is also data analytics because you are also analyzing data at that point of time. And if you go to the early 2000s, right? So at that point of time, if you, let's say, have to go to some chemist, for example, and if you order some medicine, so that particular person will also think that, okay, if I have this medicine or not. So he'll go back, he'll check, and then he'll come back to you that, okay, we don't have it. Right? So he is also acting on the basis of data. Okay. But now what the scenario is, the amount of data that is being generated is increasing exponentially. It is increasing many folds. Now we are not dealing in, let's say, few thousands rows. We are dealing in millions and billions of data. In fact, the project that I am working upon right now includes around 30 millions of records, right? So with this volume of data, it is not, it is not easy for our brain to handle all those sort of data and also to capture the insight for that data. So for this, now company needs professional. They need people who can handle their data, who can transform, clean their data, torment and torture their data to get the relevant insights, because those are the insights that will power their company decisions. That is known as data driven decisions. Okay, and the executives are looking for those decisions because data is the new oil and it has the power to actually reflect the status of the company and also to change the mindset of the executives. Okay, this is the way we can go because I am seeing the data on my screen. All right, this campaign went well and we should go with that campaign. In this particular month my sales got high, right? So all these analysis, now analysts, let's say data analysts, are in a position to actually change or alter or recommend solution to their business. So that is why people now need, or organizations now need, people or professionals who can handle, transform, clean, optimize their data so that they can take data driven decisions that can optimize their operation, reduce their cost or increase their profits.
So like I have some conclusion regarding this data analysis. Correct me if I am wrong. So earlier the data was generated, right? But it was so less that a human brain used to process it. Now the quantity has increased, right? Exponentially. For that, we need data professionals. At the same time, several tools to process the data, right? Like as you said earlier, Excel used to process the data. Now the data is in millions. The rows are in millions. So Excel has some limitations. For that, we will be using several data analytics tools, right? Which are to be used by data analytics professionals to generate the meaningful insights out of it, right? So that is data analytics, right? Or there is some other meaning of this?
Yeah, in a nutshell, in very layman terms, you're right that since the data is in huge volumes, we need specialized database systems, we need specialized skills, specialized tools, and special visualization system to understand that data, and we need professionals for that because it requires skill, right? You should have that skill set. So you're absolutely right. In layman terms, since we have a lot of data, we need people to analyze it, we need people to give insight to it, because everyone knows that data is the new oil, and a lot of organizations who haven't realized it yet have also started to realize it and are moving towards an infrastructure that is data driven.
So maybe that's the reason of the numerous job opportunities in the market and high package, right? So that's the end of the first question. So we have second main question, like, so it is how a person, like if a person, he is working into some other industry and he wants to enter into data analytics. So how he can switch his career. At the same time, there is a fresher, a college graduate who has numerous like career options. Why he should choose data analytics? So that's the most important question.
I'll come back to the first question first, right? So over there you said that why people, or why there is such a huge hype of analytics, right? So it's not only about recruiting people. Analytics has actually benefited organizations. So if you look into the success story of Netflix, of course, I mean, as of now I read a news that it lost around 200k subscribers. Right. But having said that, Netflix is a heavily data driven firm, right? So it is leveraging analytics to its best. They actually track at what point of time you logged in which day you logged in, right? You are seeing a particular video, which section of that particular, let's say, web series you rewatched again and again, right? At which point of time you left that series. So why is that scene not relevant to you? So in the promos, right, of that particular web series, they will not include that scene. So this is the depth of analytics that Netflix is following, and they have been really successful in doing that. And also, if we look into the success of Amazon, so Amazon is like one of the first companies that were really serious about analytics, and now other companies are following their path, right? Because Amazon has been also really successful. One simple example that I can give you is, once you go to the Amazon website, the front page that you see is customized to you, is customized based upon your preference, what you like, what have you saved, how did you scroll, what have you saved in your cart. And the second example that I can give, once you add some item to your cart when you're buying on Amazon. So for example, you added laptop. Now Amazon is smart enough to recommend you products that is complementing that particular laptop. Right? It will recommend you if you want to buy a mouse, if you want to add a keypad, if you want to extend your warranty of the laptop and stuff like that, if you want to have screen guard for that laptop. So Amazon is able to do that, right? It's in a position to do that because it is analyzing the data of millions of customers who have bought that item in a bucket.
Right.
In a nutshell, they are trying to increase your bucket size, right? Your ticket size, so that they can extract as much as they can, and also to increase their profits for sure. And this is what more or less Facebook has been doing. So Facebook has also been really successful in doing that. So if you see, if you are scrolling on Facebook or Instagram, right? So actually they have created a profile for you. Okay, you are the person who likes Adobe Photoshop, who is a male, who has this type of salary bracket. This is the age bifurcation. This is where you live. This is what you like. So in subconscious mind, the things that you also don't know about yourself, Facebook knows it. Right. So they have their mirror audience, right? So whenever I'm sure that you guys also launch some ad campaigns. So you must have seen that whenever you're launching an ad campaign and you are targeting the customers, so they will actually tell you, do you want to target the mirror audience? I'm not sure if I'm
lookalike audience.
Lookalike audience.
Yeah.
So that means they know that okay, these are the people who are like this, the ad that you are launching, the product that you are launching. These are the people who might be interested in it, subconsciously or consciously. Okay. So this is the level at which your data is being exploited. I won't say exploited because it is at the end benefiting you.
Yeah, right.
It's benefiting you in the sense they are showing you the right product.
Right. Content,
and if you are getting the right product, then you might buy it if it is valuable to you, right?
Right.
So when companies are getting the benefit of analytics, right, they have given them the results. That is why there is such a huge hype. And if I may give one more example, like I was reading a case study of Walmart. So they were analyzing the data because it's a retail giant and they generate millions and billions of data, right? So in a study, they figured out that if a person who is coming on Walmart.com, and if the load time of that person increased from 1 second to 4 seconds, right? If their website or servers were not responding well, the sales declined sharply, right? And if the load time was within 1 second, that person had a higher chances of buying a product. So all this is only possible if you have the data.
Right.
If you are capturing that data,
then only you can work on it.
That's right.
So sorry to interrupt, Rakshit. So earlier you were telling me regarding the Netflix story, right? So that I understand, if I am watching a particular kind of content, the Netflix will recommend me the similar content. That I can understand, right? But when you say the Netflix is capturing the data of the user, I understand there are millions of users, if I am not wrong, of Netflix. So how is it possible that Netflix is capturing the data when the customer is leaving a particular series, right? At which section he is leaving, in which language he is watching, why he is interested in this section. So how is it possible for a company to capture this much data and then drawing the meaningful insights out of it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, companies are in a position now because they have huge data centers. So data centers for the people, I mean, it's a place where a high processing computers are deployed, right? There is a proper air conditioning mechanism, so that is responsible for storing all your data. And this is how you retrieve it. So for example, if you are going on a Gmail or your Google Drive, and if you are accessing a file, so a request from your computer is sent to that data center, a computer that is lying in that data center. And that entire data center may belong to a company. Let's suppose Amazon, right? Or Netflix. So I was also looking into one case study where Microsoft was building a data center underwater, right? And because the cooling mechanism over there was more eco-friendly. And data centers are like huge buildings, high security buildings, and I think of the world electricity consumption, I may be wrong, right? Around 4 to 5% of the electricity is consumed just by the data centers. So the data that is being stored over there is not in gigabytes, it's in exabytes and petabytes. That is beyond our imagination. So companies are in a position, right, to extract that data and store it in the data centers, right, and then use it to analyze it, clean it, optimize, transform it, model it, customize it, and then check the insights, right? So data science and data analytics team of companies like Facebook, like Amazon, Netflix, they have been doing really well. And right now, more and more companies, our Indian companies like Zomato, Dunzo, right, Big Basket, Grofers, all these companies are heavily investing into analytics to understand the consumer behavior, to understand their buying pattern, to understand which product they should launch. Because there is a famous saying that 80% of the revenue is driven by 20% of your customers,
right,
or 20% of your products. So they have to identify their hero products. They have to identify their top customers so that they can customize their marketing campaigns.
Right.
So this is how Netflix is able to capture it, or any other organization is actually capturing the data, and they are
very important, very valuable from them.
Exactly, the data is very valuable for them.
Because to draw meaningful insights out of it, first you need to have the data.
Yeah, I mean, earlier people used to go on their intuition that okay, last year in the month of October, the sales of this particular product got hyped up.
Right.
So I am suspecting that in this year also, in the month of October, the sales will go high. But this is just my intuition.
Right.
Now it's not a subjective game; it's an objective game altogether.
Right.
Now people have the data in front of them, right? Not just on the basis of month, but on the basis of day. Which actor endorsed your particular product? Why did product get that hype? Why did your sales boost up? Which kind of campaign worked for you? So all these multiple dimensions are coming into play, and executives or the people who are taking decisions are in a position to take the right, accurate decisions, not based on their intuition, but also based on the actual data.
So right. So let's come back to the question, and we went in some other direction. The question was like, if a person is a fresher or if he is working to some other industry, how he can enter into data analytics?
Well, to enter into the analytics world, I would say that you should have some bare minimum skills that you should have, right? So as far as the technology is concerned, okay, because if you have to handle this volume of data, then you should also have the skill set.
Right.
So first of all, I would recommend the people to have a sound knowledge of Python, as in the Python core concepts, as well as the data analytics libraries of Python. So the data analytics libraries of Python that I will recommend is Pandas, Matplotlib, NumPy. So there are a lot of libraries. So Python is like a very vast language, and it has certain infrastructure. It has certain libraries, preset of codes that you can use, right, to deploy your codes, or if you have some customized requirement on data, if you want to torment or pivot or play around or slice and dice with the data, filter the data, you can do that using some specific libraries, right? So you should have a sound knowledge of Python. And trust me guys, in these days Python is like a very high level language, so at least you can give a try. Don't think like it's very hard, because a lot of work has already been done on Python. You have to just leverage on code of others. You have to just leverage on infrastructure. Okay. So Python will be the first thing.
So you mean a person from a non-tech background can also learn Python and get into data analytics?
I think
right?
They should try. If they are passionate about analytics, right? If they are seeing their career, then they should try, because that is the only way they will be able to know that okay, is data analytics for them or not, right? So first skill that I will recommend is Python or R, but I will personally recommend Python. Second is, which is most important, which is SQL, that is structured query language, right? Because all the data is stored in relational databases. I mean, I'm not going to go into those technical aspects. So SQL is a way to retrieve the data and manipulate the data. The third is, you maybe go for a data visualization tool or a business intelligence tool, for example, Power BI. And then Excel is a must. Some soft skills I will recommend is, you should have good communication skills, because you will be pitching your insights to the business.
Right.
And then also you should have good business acumen. You should understand the business behind that data. You are technically strong for sure. Anyone can be technically strong by learning those skills. But only if you understand the business behind that data. How are you adding value? How are you increasing the profit, let's say?
Right.
Then only you will be able to be a really good data analyst.
So Rakshit, you just spoke about Power BI. So I have seen many students asking this question: Tableau versus Power BI. Exactly, I am not familiar with these tools and I don't understand how these tools work. So I can see there is a lot of debate: Power BI versus Tableau. At the same time, why these tools are needed in the data analytics industry? So apart from visualization, do they help in any other things as well in data industry, or there's only one use, that is data visualization?
I mean, both are kind of business intelligence tools that help you in visualizing the data. So they are developer friendly, as in the person who is developing it, right? They don't need to be a hardcore coder to give those sort of charts and visuals. So Tableau is a tool on which they can go learn, right, with minimal coding skills required, and then they can deploy the solution. Same is the case with Power BI. Both tools are really good, right? But there is some pros and cons of Tableau and some pros and cons of Power BI. So if someone is going for Tableau, Tableau has an upper hand if someone wants to customize their visuals a lot. They want to create really beautiful charts and graphs. But at the other hand, Power BI is a Microsoft product,
Right.
and it is easily integrable with other Microsoft products like Power Automate, Power BI Report Builder, right, PowerShell or Azure. And at the same time, Power BI also has data modeling capabilities, and also it is in a position to transform your data, right? So there are pros and cons of both. But as of now, I was just recently studying the Gartner published study.
What is Gartner? Can you please guide our audience?
So Gartner is a research and consultancy firm that publishes their research every year, and their research are really looked up by the Fortune 500 companies. They actually look up to their research, and then only they take their decisions.
Right.
So I think from the last 3 years in business intelligence, Gartner is ranking Power BI as the best tool. And I am in that industry, so people are actually switching to Power BI from Tableau. But having said that, both are the market leaders as per Gartner: Tableau, Power BI, and I think one is ClickView. So all three are market leaders. So you can start with any one of them, and if you know one, it will be easy for you to switch into other one as well.
Right. I guess Salesforce has taken over Tableau.
Salesforce has taken over Tableau, that's right.
So I hope the answers are being cleared, guys. So we have the next main question, that is, like there has been a lot of debate, and I have seen many videos on this. What's the exact difference between data science and data analytics? I guess that data analytics is a part of data science, or these two are completely different field. I have seen students asking, sir, whether we will get more package in data science or data analytics, right? So I never have the right answer to it. So can you please guide the audience? Is data analytics a part of data science, or these two domains are completely different? And what's the difference between the salary package of a fresher in these two domains?
Well, in data analytics, the person who is a data analyst spends most of their time in understanding where the data sources are. Where is my data located? And then they will spend most of their time in understanding the data, in cleaning the data, modeling the data, making sure that the data is picture perfect, right, before feeding into, let's say, in Power BI or Tableau. So they spend most of their time in the process of creating a picture perfect data. Right. But in data science, people get the data ready, right, that has been made by, or that has been processed by analyst, and at the top of that they deploy some advanced algorithm, I would say, right, let's say advanced machine learning algorithm or predictive algorithm that based upon this historic data I can predict that this is going to happen. Or they will deploy algorithms that will cluster some customers, that these are your customers who are buying a lot but you are not paying much attention to them. These are the customers who are buying a lot and you are also paying attention to them. While these are the customers who are neither buying nor are you paying attention, and these are the customers that are not buying but you are paying attention, right? So it will cluster your customers, and in that way you will be in a position to take absolute decision that these are the customers who are buying but I am not making good offers to them.
So this is data science.
This is data science. I mean, I would say that data science or data analytics is still an evolving field. So if you are a data scientist, then also you might do a lot of work involved as a data analyst. And if you're a data analyst, then also you will be doing a lot of work as a data scientist. But as a fresher, I would say if you don't have that coding background or science background, you should not go into data science stuff, because it becomes more and more technical.
Technical, right?
As of now, if I look at the demand for data analyst is much more than data scientist.
Okay.
Because companies first of all want to have that infrastructure in which they can, you know, have a clean data. Then only they will be able to deploy some advanced algorithm.
Okay.
So as of now, if you are absolute fresher, you can go for data analyst. As in over there, you should know SQL, Python, as I say, Power BI, right? For data scientist also, you should know SQL, you should know Python. But you will be deploying some advanced analytics algorithm over there, right? For a particular use case.
Machine learning.
So over there, you should have a good mathematical skills. You should have good statistical skills. So data science, in more technical aspect, is a different ball game altogether, and data analyst is again a bit different ball game, right? Data analyst people are less technical, I would say. I mean, it's not a general term, but they are more close to business. They understand the business as well. But data scientists are like core coders whose job is to deploy advanced algorithm and then make sure that, okay, based upon these factors, I can predict this is happening with this much accuracy and do all those sort of stuff.
So I can say this is still a gray area, but data analysis is a part of data science. Can we conclude that in a layman terms if we say?
No, I would not say that the data analysis is a part of data science. They both are, you know, meeting somewhere in between. And a person who is an analyst can also do a work for data scientist. If it's a medium scale organization, they'll ask you to, you know, you upgrade your skills. And if a person is a data scientist, then it is not like always they will be deploying advanced algorithms. They might also be using Power BI or Tableau, right? They will be doing, they will be also interacting with the business, understanding the data, giving them the insights. So it's an interchangeable field as of now, but in the coming years, right, it will be more and more segregated because analytics is still an evolving field. If you go back, let's say, 10 years from now, hardly anyone was talking about analytics, right? So it's still an evolving field, but if you're a fresher or if you want to switch your career as a fresher, then I would say that go for data analytics and learn Python, right? Learn how to use pandas, build your personal profile on Kaggle. So as you said that how do you get into analytics as a fresher? So it's very important to build your personal profile, as in code on Kaggle. Kaggle is like a social media platform for data analysts and data scientists in which you can participate in competitions specific to analytics. You can code over there, right? So you should build your personal profile. You should work upon building your personal portfolio, personal brand that you can pitch to your recruiters and win their trust, right? So you have to work upon Kaggle, HackerRank, and then build some dashboards on Power BI, right? So you should have that sort of repository, publish your codes on GitHub, and then, you know, pitch it to your recruiters. So that way you will be segregated from the crowd, and in that way you will have much higher chances in getting selected. Because at the end of the day, why people or why companies are, you know, looking for experienced one? Because they know they don't have to spend a lot of energy in training them.
Right.
But as a fresher, if you'll make the recruiter believe that you don't have to spend any energy on training me, I have my personal profile. You can look at my projects. You can look at my Kaggle profile, let's suppose. You can look at my GitHub profile.
It enhances the credibility.
Exactly. I mean, this is how you will be able to add more credibility to your profile.
Right.
And if you want to get into analytics, I think this is the right time because everyone is moving to the digital ecospace.
Right.
And I think most of the companies have moved over there and all the industries are actually over there. And because all the customers are over there and we are generating data for them to launch the right product at the right time to the right customer with the right ad campaign. So if you want to get into analytics, so yeah, I think starting with Python, SQL, Power BI or Excel, right? Excel is also required in your ad hoc analytics tasks. So this can be a good start, and I think you should definitely give it a try if you are serious about analytics or if you want to get into that field.
So along with the audience, even I am learning a lot new things about data analytics. So Rakshit, I have the next main question, that is, so what is the future growth of this industry? We know that currently there is a huge gap between the demand and the supply, but we also know that with a period of time, this gap will be filled at a very rapid pace, right? So suppose like if we talk about next 6 months or next 1 or 2 years, so still there will be demand of this industry or the gap will be filled very soon. So what's the future growth of this industry?
Well, I think I was reading one of the article where they predicted that this industry will go or will grow at a CAGR growth of around 29%
29%.
per year, and that is pretty high as per the other industries. And this industries will be worth around $150 billion, if I'm not wrong. I may be wrong, right? By 2026. And these are just few numbers, right? If we look into the actual industries or the actual application of analytics into industries. So for example, if we pick up finance industry, right? So as of now, banking industries or banking domains are heavily using analytics to understand the fraud transactions. Okay, so they have the data of a transaction, they are tracking the location, they are tracking how much amount got deducted and what is the flow of that amount, that okay, this amount was flowing from A to B, B to C, and then coming back to A. So what is the flow of that? And they have certain set of rules and algorithm deployed, especially in Russia-Ukraine war, you know. So a lot of fraud transactions are happening over there. So banking sectors are actually deploying analytics technology and hiring analytics professional to rate their transaction, to give a probability that if this transaction is a false transaction or a fraud transaction or not.
There are chances of
Correct. And if those chances exceed 90%, let's say for a couple of time or consecutively, then they might block that person. And this is just one use case. If we look into the marketing industry, it is used heavily over there, right? People or marketing analysts are using the data to launch the right campaign. They should know that which campaign is working for them, right? If people are clicking on their ad or not, and if people are clicking, right, they are buying their product or not on their website. It is used in supply chain industry, right? So with the after COVID, a lot of supply chain got disrupted because we were sourcing a lot of stuff from China, and everyone was doing that. And since the major outbreak was in China, so the supply got disrupted and we were not able to get the product, especially the electronics one, right? The semiconductor shortage was there because we were sourcing it from Taiwan, right? So in supply chain, to strengthen the supply chain of the companies, right? So if the demand of that product increased based upon the historic sales data, I have my multiple manufacturers, multiple wholesalers in different geographical location, right? So I don't have to depend on one person. So all this is being used, and analytics is playing a very heavy role in that. It is being used in medicine industry, right? It is being used in retail sector, in logistics sectors. People are actually using analytics in understanding that which way a particular person should take so that the cost of the fuel is as minimum as it can and the logistic cost is again as minimum as it can. So data analytics is actually penetrating every industry possible, okay? And if there is any industry which is untouched by analytics, it will also be covered. And you know, if you ask about the future of analytics, so future of analytics depends upon the future of data. And if you look to our younger generation, so I went to one of my relative house. So over there they had a daughter, 2 or 3-year-old daughter, and she was not even eating her food, or whenever she used to get restless, they should just open YouTube and give the phone to her. So this is something which is happening with almost all the parents, okay? So this way, that generation is subconsciously getting conditioned to be on the digital ecospace, to be on social media platform, right? And they like gaming as well. So they are actively being on that space and generating more and
data.
more
That's what
much more data than what our generation
was
right?
generating.
So I mean, there is one example for it as well. So if you go on YouTube and if I'll ask you that, you know, what is the most viewed YouTube video, one of the most viewed YouTube videos, so what would your answer be?
Maybe a music video,
or let's say get quick rich schemes or some
songs,
right? So that is, or some motivational video. So that is not right. One of the most viewed videos, or one of the most viewed domains on YouTube is actually child rhyme videos, right? So there's one, I think there was one Baba Black Sheep, Black Sheep, right? So that videos actually has views in billions, not even in millions, right? And the age target or the age group that sees that particular videos, I think till 6 years, okay? So that video is able to generate 6 billion views, and this is similar to other regional child rhyme videos as well, right? If you look into some regional, let's say Hindi or some regional content or some regional child rhyme, you will see views in millions. So this is just one example of how that generation is addicted to being on that digital ecospace. and what kind of data it will generate for the firms. Right.
Okay.
So I think the future of analytics is very bright. We will have a lot more data to handle,
Right.
and people or companies will eventually need professionals, trained one, who can handle that sort of data, right? Clean, optimize, transform it, present the insights to the business. More and more companies are realizing the importance of it, right? And I think if you have any name of the company, just write the name of that company and just write data analytics job, right? You will find those jobs because companies are taking data seriously now.
Each and every company.
So I firmly believe the future is very bright, at
Right.
least for the next, I think, 10 years or maybe more than that, right? But one thing that is for sure in this field is you have to keep on upgrading. So it's not just Python, SQL and Power BI or Tableau, ClickView, right? You have to keep on upgrading with new technologies because analytics is still a evolving field.
So Rakshit, one thing I have understood that this demand and supply gap is not going to fill anytime soon. And as you said, with more and more data being generated, there will be demand for more data analytics. And for doing that, we will be needing more professionals. So in the coming future, the demand is going to increase, right? It's not going to fill anytime soon. So any concluding words for our audience, like how they should start, like first initial step towards data analytics? Like we have a lot of audience from the non-tech background. We have chartered accountants, we have CFAs, because initially we started Jobaaj.com started with accounting and finance domain, and recently we have expanded into data domain. So we have several professionals which are from non-tech background. So can you guide them with the first initial step, not going to pandas, Python and everything, the first step they should take to enter into this industry, so that they can start with it and later on they can connect with us. We have a separate career counseling team, so to guide them how they can enter into data analytics. But first let them know the first initial step.
I mean, it's not important for the people to entirely switch to analytics domain, because data analytics is actually following them. They don't have to follow it, because right now, let's say if they're in finance domain, they will be dealing with the financial data.
Right.
And if that data is going to increase, their managers or their organization will require them to upskill in a technology with which they can handle big data. Big data as in data which is in millions, huge data, right? So analytics is actually following them. And I think it will be the need of an hour to upgrade it, to upgrade into analytics. And there has been a lot of cross-domain upskilling. So as of now, the techies are learning more and more about finance, about personal finance. So you see a lot of demat accounts being opened on platforms like Zerodha. And I think Zerodha for this
last year
generated a maximum profit.
Right.
So with this we can assume that there is a lot of cross-domain upskilling which is happening. Right? So this is applicable for the non-tech people too. They want to get again into the technology. They want to understand that, because this is the demand of the situation, right? And if they want to understand it, there is a lot of information which is available on the net, but that is in a very unstructured or scattered format,
Right.
And if they want to get into it, I think the best approach would be to attend the seminars or webinars, because that is what I also used to do when I was, let's say, in my college, and I still do it, right? So I still attended a webinar on data science for one of my mentors who was organizing it. So I think you should take part in the webinars, seminars, right? Initially begin with low investments, and then once you start to get that sort of confidence and interest in analytics, then maybe you can take upon any professional courses, any professional certifications in data analytics. But I think they can start with webinars, seminars, and then
Right. So the first step for them will be understanding more about this industry. I hope this podcast has already cleared lots of doubt which was there in their mind. So but they need to understand more about this industry before entering into it, right? As Rakshit said, that they may be already into it, but they don't understand that they are already doing data analytics. So first of all, they need to explore more about this industry. Then they can start with the technologies like Python, SQL, and Power BI, as you told. So Rakshit, thank you for coming here and giving deep insights about this industry to our audience. And we hope that we will be soon organizing another podcast to go deep into the data analytics. And all of us already know that you are conducting several workshops, webinars to guide people how they can enter into this industry. So guys, like if you want to enroll, if you want to know more about this industry apart from this podcast, you can register for his workshop, and believe me guys, you will get a lot insights. So Rakshit, can we have the final concluding words for our audience?
Yes, so that's right. If you want to enter the workshop, the link will be, I think, in the description.
Yeah, we will share it.
Yeah. And apart from that, again, thank you so much for having me over here. And again, yes, soon we will have the podcast too, where we will cover the more in-depth concepts of analytics. Today, I just wanted to, share the tip of the icebergs to the people who are absolute newbies, because all of your audience are generally from non-tech
Right.
migrating to the technical background.
Right.
So again, thank you so much. I hope the information was to the point and the podcast was relevant to it, and I hope your audience will like it.
Right, definitely. After this podcast, we will be conducting several surveys, and we will be collecting more questions so that we can work on them and release the second version of this podcast. So guys, thank you so much. We will see you in our next podcast.